Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I guess I didn't really know what to talk about anymore. I ran out of things. That's not true. I guess I ran out of motivation to keep going. Making a podcast isn't easy, that's for sure. It's more of a venting thing, I guess. So today, I figured I'd just be real again. I figured today I would just talk about why do we hold on. A lot of us are going through really difficult stuff in our lives that we don't talk about to other people. Challenging stuff, where it's hard to wake up, it's hard to leave bed, where you're driving in the road and, sometimes you question, why don't I just swerve over to the side? No one's really going to miss me. Does it really matter? So why are we still here when we feel like that? I mean, I don't know if we even know really. I don't know. That sounds weird to say. My first two podcasts, all I had to say was positive stuff about how people matter, how everyone is important. Sometimes it's easy to talk about something and tell someone else something, but it's a whole other thing to believe it yourself. So I guess let's talk about the realistic thing of how hard it is sometimes to just be here, to be alive, to be in this world, especially in today's times where expectations are constantly being heaped on you. Or if you don't, form to the world the right way, then you stick out, and that's a problem. I mean, everyone always tells us to be ourselves, but whenever we are ourselves, usually it's not a good thing, and then we're told that we don't fit the norm or we need to act this way instead. I'm no better, really. Truthfully, I was awful. I was in high school. I smiled and laughed. I didn't want to, really, inside. I was lonely. I didn't have any friends. And if anyone actually knows me and went to my high school and I say that, I don't mean that personally. I mean, I didn't have people who talk to me outside of school. We can have friends, we can be like, oh, we have friends. But I mean, are they close friends or are they just, school friends? Friends who talk to you during school, talk to you about sports. They laugh with you at school. You guys joke around and everything. But when you leave school, I mean, do they text you to see if you're all right? Do they reach out to make sure you're okay? Do they care really about you? And for people who have friends like that, it's rough. You know, it's easy to be in a crowd like that with, school friends or, people you only go out to have a good time with, but still feel so alone. Or even sometimes, honestly, that makes the loneliness feel worse whenever you do come back home. Like going to work sometimes, you know, having a good time with your coworkers or come home to an empty house, silence, blackness. Welcome home, you say. Only they just hear literally nothing in return. No one talks about how life isn't. I mean, people say life isn't easy, but they don't really talk about how hard it actually is. We don't get taught that in school. How hard since you turn 18, if you don't already have plans set, if you already didn't start your plans motioning in freshman year, then it's going to be hard. You work a 9 to 5. Some days you don't even want to get out of bed, but you do because you need the money. Or maybe you do enjoy your work. But you go to work, you work that 9 to 5 or sometimes even longer, especially in today's world where we need the money. You work how many hours, you get home, you're tired, beyond tired, you're exhausted. You feel it in your bones, you feel it in your heart. Sometimes, most of the time, you probably don't even eat. You lay down in bed and you lay there and you don't think about anything. And there's nothing to think about. You're just so tired. But eventually memories, creep back up on you when times are simpler, when things are easy. And you question, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Am I wasting it? Or I wish I could go back and do this different. What ifs are killers? They are always questioning everything you do. Wishing you would have done something different. Or maybe you're in your early 20s or late 20s and you don't have a partner, and then you question, why am I alone? Am I going to end up alone? Am I going to stay alone? Are things going to stay this way forever? What am I supposed to do? I'm scared. That's how you may sound to yourself. And it's a valid reason to be scared. And to be afraid of being alone in the end. To waste your whole life working or searching for somebody, searching for love, you know, and man, most of the time we settle. We do. We settle for less than we deserve. That's why there's probably so many divorces in the world, because people settle. They get scared. I don't want to end up alone, so I'll take what I can get. I can't say that I'm not even guilty of it, because the truth is, I would probably settle. I mean, you really have to ask yourself why you're still here when you feel like you don't have any more fight in you, or you're just tired of getting back up after getting knocked down. But I mean, you're still here though, so that's good. I'm proud of you for that. So for people who are questioning why they're still here, or really thinking about giving up, I want you to know that you're not alone. I feel like that every day, questioning, being tired all the time, laughing around other people, you know, putting on that facade that everything's okay, that everything's gonna stay okay, but it's really not. You hate yourself for it. Sorry, this got a little too personal, I think. This sucks, whenever you can look in the mirror and when you did everything right and you wanted it more than anyone. And if you think, if I just wanted this enough, then I could just show everyone that they were wrong. And most of the time we fall flat on our face in the end. And then we have to question, was everyone really right about me? Were they right? Well, let me tell you, they're not right, okay? You're gonna stumble and we're gonna fall. We are. And I say we because I am just as guilty of that as anybody. You are something special. Whether you're 12, 13, 20, 40, 60, you have something inside of you that nobody else has. Every snowflake is different. You're a snowflake. You're different from everybody. And there's something inside of you that's worth breathing life into. It's never too late to chase your dreams, to take what you really want. If you love somebody, but they don't love you, don't let that stop you. And I don't mean chase her around or, be weird about it. Don't push, but just wait. And maybe in the end, she won't choose you ever. She may get married and live the life that you wanted with her. Or, she wanted, or, for her girls, you wanted with him. But I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather wait around 10 years and make a complete fool of myself waiting on someone that I love, that I know I love, than just trying to find another her for the rest of her or him for the rest of my life. Because I mean, when you really love somebody, and I mean really love, I mean that's not gonna go away, and you'll be searching for that person and everyone else. You will. There was a girl that I dated in middle school. Her name was Emily. We were on and off all the time. It was ridiculous. We were the worst couple ever. And I see that now. But man, was I in love with her so much. Man, I would have. I remember she was selling chocolate bars as banned chocolate bars, and I worked all weekend long to secure enough money to buy a whole box from her. And I don't even like sweets, but I did it because I wanted to impress her and I wanted to stand out, even though we were already dating. But I felt like with her, I always had to keep her attention somehow, or she'd slip away. And she did. She slipped away a lot of times through that year. I remember she gave me back one of my hoodies one time. It was a green one. And it smelled like her. And it was the most torturous thing because it smelled like her for a whole year and a half, close to 2 years, because I kept it in a bag because I didn't want it. I didn't want to wear it anymore. I could have washed it, yeah, but I didn't think of that at the time. So when I moved schools to start high school, you know, she haunted me. And I searched for her in every girl that I dated for the whole year. I did. I dated a girl that I didn't even like, but she asked me out, and so I said yes. I don't know why. But I thought that, maybe I could learn to really like her. And in the end, I did end up, falling for her. That's wrong. It was wrong of me, the fall for a girl that I wasn't, to agree to date a girl that I didn't really like. But, sometimes we want love so bad that that turns us into not good people and we make terrible decisions. I think it's an important thing to understand and acknowledge. But yeah, so I looked for Emily in every girl, and I feel like she always tripped me up somehow. Always. Felt like every time I was really starting to get over her, I would trip up and I would end up right back in the cycle. She would reach out. She'd reach out as soon as I was getting over her somehow. And she wouldn't even have to say anything but a few words, and I was hooked all over again. So if you really love somebody, wait. And people will tell you, people are going to tell you, don't wait. It's dumb. Find someone out there who's better for you. They'll be like, that's wrong. Don't wait like that. It's not going to end well for you. And yeah, it probably won't end well for you. Waiting never ended well for me. But I'd rather die alone. That's crazy to say because my biggest fear is ending up alone in the future. But if I love somebody, no, I love someone, and I would rather wait for that person forever and hope maybe in the next lifetime, or hope that there's some kind of multiverse out there. And I'd rather wait than try to play pretend with somebody else. And sometimes that's what we need. I mean, sometimes maybe all it takes is waiting and moving on with time. But not everyone can do that. Some people love too deep. When they love someone, I mean, they really love somebody. You're going to be unhappy for the rest of your life if you settle for someone trying to get over somebody else. And yeah, you may, find some semblance of happiness with the person you settle with. But I don't know. I just can't. I can't even imagine doing that. I realized this myself. I just realized this myself. I'm okay with being alone. I am. If that's what it means. All right. So, like I was saying, let's move back to, the whole depression thing. I feel like, you know, or you're that kid that has to take care of themselves. Your parents are too concerned with your older brother, older sister, younger brother, younger sister. Or, you feel like no one notices you. You're that invisible child. You wake up every day, you look in the mirror and you don't know what you see, who you are. It's rough. It is. Who am I? You ask yourself, who am I? Who am I meant to be? What am I gonna be? Why doesn't anyone see me for me? Honestly, we're also the kind of blame for that ourselves, because the person we put out there are the person people see. We may desperately cry and want people cry out, on the inside and want people to see us, you know, for who we are on the inside. Don't look past surface level. Please look inside. See, I need help. Help me. I need it. Please, I'm reaching out. But we're not really reaching out. I mean, it's kind of fairy tale-ish, we want people to save us from ourselves, but we make it hard. And as soon as someone, let's say someone does see that, and then they start pushing, and then we get defensive and we start putting up walls, and we're like, whoa, whoa, that's a little too real, or we crumble, at their touch. I mean, physically, I mean, emotionally, and that's that. And then you have to start wondering. So, I get it. Do you want to be alive? Why are you alive? Are you tired? Does every breath feel hard? Are your legs weak? Are you drained? And when I say are you tired, I mean is your soul so tired that you feel like you could sleep day in and day out on end and you still feel like you wouldn't be enough. You just want to sleep today away. And I remember saying in one of my podcasts that sleep is such a drug. It is. It's so much easier to just sleep and pretend that, nothing is real. And, they escape everything that you're feeling: school, parents, stress, work, peer pressure from trying to fit in with people, trying to fit society's norm. You know, it's hard. If you feel like that, know that I also feel like that. And I'm not gonna lie and, say things are gonna get better or, there's a rainbow on the other side because I've been told that my whole life. And sometimes I feel like I'm still waiting for that rainbow, you know, that, oh, it finally got better. I'm not saying to give up because that's never an option. Remember what I said in my very first podcast ever. There's only one of you in this entire world. Out of billions of people, you are the only you. You are important. You matter. So giving up is not an option. It's never going to be an option. We just have to keep holding on. And I know that that's not really fair to say, not really fair to ask when we all feel like we're holding on by such a thin thread. Sometimes, we really think it would be easier to, just let go of it or just, pull a little bit harder to help the thread break. But I promise you, you're gonna regret it. And people are like, no, I wouldn't regret it, but you would. I think you would, because as much as we say people, no one would care, or we lost this. If we took our own lives, that would only be temporary. For us, it's temporary. That pain, that's temporary for us. But the people who did care, and that's forever for them. Your mom, your dad, you didn't think cared. Your siblings who you think just don't like you or place you on all the time. Friends who never really hung out with you. They'll all feel it. Even if they are branches on your tree and they were really only there for a season. People would feel it and people would miss you. Or what you doing that could cut someone else's life short because they feel guilty or they miss you too much. There was a girl, um, I haven't told anyone this story ever, but one of my years in foster care, there was this girl I met. Her name was Willow. Um, I met her out in the woods when I was covered in blood and bruises from a really bad beating. I had ran out to the woods to this creek that I always used to go out to because it was just so relaxing. But I remember I was sitting on this rock by this creek crying, and I remember, hearing someone walk up to me, and I just continued crying because honestly, I just thought it was my foster dad coming to, beat me some more. But I remember her voice, a soft, ring voice. Hey, are you okay? And when I looked up, it's like something out of a movie. The sun was shining on the back of her head. You know, she had brown hair. It made it look like it was glowing almost. She had a soft smile on her face, busted lip, black eye, and she had her hand reached out to me. She was bent over a little bit, had her hand reached out. And that's what I feel like. That was the moment I was pulled above the waves. So when she ended up, she did end up taking her life a little bit later on in the year. She was also a foster kid and in a really abusive home. And we met up a lot in the woods to get away and talked. And when I learned that she took her life, I didn't know her that well, but she was somewhat a part of my life. And it made me, truthfully, I cut myself every day for a month. I feel like I was punishing myself for failing to save her, even though that wasn't my job at the time and there was really nothing I could have done. But I did, right on my back, like right by my shoulder where I could reach it. Every day I cut a line. Uh, I probably would have done it forever. Yeah, until I realized that what I was doing wasn't helping anyone. And wasn't helping me. And she wouldn't have wanted that. We may not see it now, but I promise there's always a reason to hold on. I know that's really hard to believe. Sometimes I find it hard to believe myself. I mean, really, who wants to hang on in a world like today? Sometimes I ask myself, where the world's always changing and, you never know what's going to happen. Where you feel like the world's just one wrong move away from ending. But the fact is, your life is your story. It's your book. Only you get to decide how the pages are made. Hey, I'm gonna cut that. That was awful. Let me redo that. Your life is your book. Only you get to decide how the pages are filled in and how each chapter turns out. Nobody else. And if you still live with your parents and you don't feel like that, I promise you it's true. It's your story. No one else can tell us how it ends. And I know everyone listening to this podcast is going to have a beautiful, happy ending. I know one day we'll all get our happily ever after. Well, this is my live. Um, I know it wasn't very good. I know I kind of jumped around a lot. It's my first one back for a while. I promise tomorrow will be better. I'll actually talk about something way better. Tomorrow I'll be talking about BPD in a relationship and the struggles of that for traumatized people in a relationship. I hope you guys have a good night. And like I said, I'll end with every stream. Remember, you matter. You're important. The world would never be a better place without you in it. So keep your head up, keep smiling, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Exodus Podcast for the broken heart and traumatized. Good night.